Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to analyze a charming chess game that will take you through the basics of strategy in chess. The ending of this game is entertaining, but that's not the point of this game. This game is all about how you evaluate a position and think about your next moves. This game was played in 2018 Chess Olympiad between Santos Fier and Vidal. Let's begin this game. The game started with knight f3, black played d5, white played c4, d into c4, knight a3, planning to take up this pawn. By the way, this is a Reti opening accepted variation where the opening is generally dominated by knights and bishops struggling for the center and space domination. Now in the game, black played a6 and black is aiming for a pawn storm on the queen side. White plays knight into c4, recapturing the pawn. Black plays b5, attacking the knight. Knight goes to e3. Now look at over here, the dominance of these two knights on the center. Black challenges this dominance by playing bishop b7, which aims at this b7 to e4 diagonal. White plays g3. The idea is to bring this bishop over here, challenging this diagonal domination by this black bishop. Black plays knight f6, putting more pressure upon the center. White continues with his plan and plays bishop g2. Black plays e6. The idea is to develop this bishop and then castle kingside. In the meanwhile, white castles kingside. Black plays bishop e7. White plays b3. Now, it's difficult to develop this bishop through d2 because the knight is over here in e3, and this is a logical move so that the bishop comes to b2 and captures this good diagonal, again putting pressure upon the center. If you see the whole game till now, and the further moves will be all about capturing the center, capturing more space. Black castles kingside, white plays bishop b2. Black plays c5, putting pressure upon this square, and also the idea is to get the knight to d7, bring the rook to c8, and then go for this pawn push. So black is aiming for a queenside attack, whereas white has got some preponderance of his minor pieces on the king side. So maybe there can be a kingside attack from white. Let's see what happened in the game. White plays queen c2. This is a semi-open file, and hence it's logical that you capture this file. So queen c2 was played. Knight comes to d7. Again, the idea is to bring the rook over here. White increases the pressure upon the semi-open file by bringing the rook to c1. Black plays h6. The game continued with white playing rook f d1. The idea is to push this pawn in the future, and on the opposite end you have got the black queen, which can become a liability. First, black goes to play rook c8 because here queen is on this file and it's good to oppose the rook against the queen. The queen must push off, and that's what white did. White played queen b1. Black also removed the queen from the line of this rook by playing queen b6. White played queen a1. Now the whole idea is to double up the attack on this diagonal so that if this knight moves, then you have this pawn which can be captured. Black played rook f d8 with the anticipation that there will be some movement on the d file with the d pawn. White played h3. Now this h3 is a very sinister move. The whole idea of h3 is to play this knight to g4, remove this knight, and then eventually put attack upon this g7 pawn. Now here black played bishop f8, but I think over here instead of playing bishop f8 it was better to play knight h5 and then let's say if white plays d3, then you have got bf6 with quite an equal position, but all the attacks towards the black king gets foiled up because of this bishop f6. Let's go back to the main game where white played h3, and to this move black played bishop f8. The whole idea is to provide protection to this g7 pawn. The game continued with white playing d3. D3 is to prevent this c4 push. Black played bishop c6. Now black is following the footsteps of white. Black wants to take this queen to b7. What this really means is that you have got these two knights kind of held up in their positions. But before this queen comes to b7, white plays knight g4. Now if you see, the number of threats upon this knight is 1, 2, 3, whereas it is being defended by 1, 2, which means that in case you do not protect this knight, or if you do not move this knight, a pawn will fall. So black simply played over here knight into g4, capturing this knight over here. Remember, this pawn is a weakness, but it is adequately supported. There are two supports over here countering these two attacks from the queen and the bishop. The game continued with white recapturing the knight. Now black plays queen b7. Now this knight cannot move to a lot of places because the bishop over here will come under attack and will get captured. So to prevent this influence, to free up this knight, white plays e4. Black plays a5, continuing its queenside attack. White plays g5. Now this g5 is again a very sinister move. The idea of g5 is to bring the knight over here, bring the bishop over here, push the king to g2, and then bring the major pieces to the open edge file. Here black played h into g5. The other move which was possible was h5, but it's not a great move because let's say if you play this h5, the game will continue with white playing g6. Black has to play f into g6. Then comes bishop h3, which attacks this isolated pawn at e6. This will require support and black will have to play rook e8. But then comes knight g5, further attacking this pawn at e6, and the only move left is e5. Then white can play a4. Let's say black plays b4. White can go with rf1, and black's position is quite cramped. So in this situation where g5 comes, it's better to take h into g5, which was exactly played by black in the main game. White responded by capturing g5 pawn, and the position is set where white is now aiming at this crucial h7 square. However, black ignores this threat. It is black is not yet able to comprehend the grave threat what this knight is posing by sitting over here, and black plays a4. It was actually important to drive away this knight by playing bishop e7. But as we see in the main game, black as of now is least bothered about this knight and goes ahead with a queenside attack. White continues with his plan and plays bishop h3, to which black responds by playing rook e8. Now black feels that white is planning some sacrifice at e6 and hence it is protecting this e6 pawn. But that is not the real threat. The whole idea of bh3 is a part of an original plan where white wants to bring his king to g2, then bring his rook to h1, and then exert tremendous pressure upon this h file. So this e6 sacrifice was never a real threat. Let's see if e6 is really a threat, why black is so much concerned about protecting this e6. So imagine a scenario where after bishop h3, instead of playing rook e8, black plays a into b3, and let's say white sacrifices over the e6 and plays knight into e6. Black will play f into e6, and here comes bishop into e6 check. King goes to h7, bishop f5 check, king goes to g8, back to its original square. White plays king g2. Idea is to bring this rook to h1. Black can play rook e8. White continues with rook h1. Black plays rook a8, and there is actually no real threat on the king side. In fact, black has much more potent attack on the queen side. Black might have a winning position over here. Actually, to bishop h3, instead of playing rook e8, the best move was knight b6. Let's see this variation. To knight b6, the best move for white to play is d4. Black can play a into b3. White can respond by recapturing the b3 pawn. Black can attack the queen by playing rook a8. Queen has to run to b1. Then black will play bishop e7, driving off this knight. Here white can actually make a sacrifice over here and play knight into e6, which is attacking the rook over here. The idea is that if black captures this knight, this bishop can come over here, take up the pawn, give check, and once the king moves, you can have d5, you can have e5, and because there is no f pawn, you have connected passed pawns in the center, which can be extremely dangerous. So now this knight into e6 sacrifice is logical, and black definitely should not accept this sacrifice. He should counterattack. So black can counterattack by playing bishop into e4, which is attacking the queen over here. White will continue by capturing the rook, because with this capture it is also attacking the black queen. Black will play rook into knight. White has to play rook c2. Remember, going to a1 in an attempt of saving this queen is fruitless, because this rook will come to a8 and this queen will be trapped. So rook has to be given up, and white will have to play rook c2. And black can continue the game by playing c4, and in this position the advantage is actually to black. So let's go back to the original game where white played bishop h3, and we showed that here knight b6 was the best move. Black need not be concerned about any sacrifice on e6, but in the main game black was actually concerned, and black played rook e8, and here onwards the game started becoming a bit difficult one for black. White responded by playing king g2, going ahead with the original plan of bringing the rook to h1 and capturing this weak h file where the king is left to be attacked. Black again ignores this threat and plays a into b3. White does not waste time in recapturing this pawn and straight away moves with its attack. And here black commits a blunder and plays c4. This is a blunder which leads to a mating attack. I want you all to take a pause over here for 10 seconds and try to see if you can discover the tactic which leads to checkmate. Ready? And the move is bishop into e6. White played bishop into e6 and black captured this bishop. There was not much of great moves out here. White played rook h8 check. Black captured the rook. White brought another rook to h1 to give check. Black king went to g8. Another rook got sacrificed with rook h8 check, and black having no other option but to accept this sacrifice. Here comes the queen now to h1. It's h1 check. King g8 is the only move, and you have queen h7 checkmate. Now this is a very instructive game to learn strategy. I hope you liked this game. Thank you.